Do it, my G.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
no.
Oh,
Hit the
no.
button, my G.
If that got into the show, we're canceling it.
Hey, oh my god. Hey, okay. Again, you know, it's gonna be a minute before I'm like, yeah, we're live, right when it says, because I'm not used to this new system. But again, I'm assuming we're live. And hey, welcome to another RDX podcast, Real Deal Xbox podcast, one of the biggest gaming podcasts in the history of the world. Thank you, chat, for making it all possible. And thanks for joining us. Hit that like button, share us out if you happen to give a fuck. Let me go ahead and mute this. That's really annoying. So thanks for joining us once again, guys. We got a fantastic panel. We got a couple special guests, and we are short one Cultist Eastwood, one Ann Coulter, one Colt Driftwood, one Scroat Eastwood. I got a bunch of them, and you guys should use them on Twitter. Again, shout out to Colt. He's not here this week. He'll be back next week or the one after. I don't remember. But either way, we got a ton of topics. Let me get into some introductions. Let me hit this button so I know who the fuck I'm introducing. D-Batch, how you been, buddy?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm good. I dropped a video and then some other news kind of dropped to kind of debunk my video. So yeah.
You dropped the video and then Microsoft suplexed you on your head, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But we're going to clean it all up on this show today, so it's all good.
Hey, Psychonauts.
You're like a Sony insider.
Psychonauts says, Assassin Loop is in the house. Shout out to her. Yes, I did message her this morning. I just didn't have time to get back to my DMs pretty much most of the day. So thank you so much, sir. Everybody with a colored name in the chat, all the channel members, everybody that supports the show, all the patrons, everybody, thank you so much for what you do, all the shout outs, blah, blah, blah. Hey, we've also got Mr. Grounded Gamer. How you been, buddy?
I've been good, you know. I want to welcome everybody to the Damage Control podcast.
Hell yeah.
Welcome.
God, you really do spend a lot of time listening to rats on Twitter that don't even watch the show, huh? That's unfortunate, Fonzarelli, because...
No, actually I don't, but...
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a message that, you know, we got just about 5 minutes ago.
Who did that?
It was pretty funny. I don't know. Some guy sent a message and said, don't damage control too much tonight, guys. And I'm like, what? Okay.
Did he tell you thank you because we were the ones asking for Halo's delay since it got revealed?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah,
funny, right?
So he should shut the fuck up, whoever that is. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Zalker, buddy, how you been?
Doing good. I'm ready to damage control because, you know, that's what we do. And I can't wait.
Zucker does.
I can't. Yeah, it's what I do. You know, Phil came to me and he was like, what should we do with Halo? And I was like, make Craig Master Chief and delay it.
Hey,
Don't
where's
fuck
Greg
around.
at? Greg's using an easy bake oven. Craig is run through the bushes, derpy ass Halo Infinite brute, right? That you can't kill, which I thought was a great idea you had last week. But oh, by the way, Tim, he's gonna be here in a few minutes if he's not already here. But he is going to be here tonight, so that's going to be great. We've also got a few special guests. We got Chris Grinnell, who you might know, and I hate to explain him this way or introduce him this way, but it's the easiest way to jog people's memory. Ex-Sony developer, worked on Killzone and some other stuff for Sony, and good friend. Honestly, it's great to have you back on the show, and the fans have been wanting you back on the show, man.
It's good to be back. Am I working? Oh.
What?
I was making sure that it wasn't muted. No, good to be back.
I just picture you with like a rock up to your head trying to use it as a phone just now. Yeah, it's good to have you back on, brother. We got a lot of
string is what I'm using. So,
cups and a string. Yeah, that's how the articles kind of took some of the stuff you said last time and like, is this a game of telephone? So again, you know, great to have you on, man. We got a lot of interesting stuff that will come to you for, and again, it's just great to have you on. Chat, give him a thumbs up. We've also got Gaz, co-owner of GameOnDaily.com, man. Good to have you on. Great website, and again, man, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man.
Your voice just cracked. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm finally hit puberty.
My G, your balls just dropped.
Wow.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a brilliant intro, man. But yeah, I'm just happy to be here with such esteemed guests and ready to jump into the sauce.
All right. Well, hopefully you figure out that kidney stone, and hopefully Tim Dog gets here pretty quick. But yeah, Tim will be here, and we will, of course, have to introduce Tim Dog. He's one of my favorite people in the universe. I've also got some patron verbal shout outs so that this list did update. So we've got Wakanda XNT. We've also got All Might Goose 8402 TD Teabaggins. You know what your first name is. Straw Hat Khalifa, Bad Boy Live, Assassin Lupa. Shout out to her. She is better. She's back home. She might be in the chat. I haven't been able to check. Really good to have you back. and up and running again. Alec Gamer 4, Frost did that shit. Tony Stark RDX, Foreign Object, Gab, Queez, Teo, John Blue, Vec Boss, Deviator X, Real Deal, Neil, Suicide King, Tasteless Genie. We've also got Michael Bowen, Guillermo Cabillo, and A Squad Gaming. Check out A Squad's channel, man. This is a good guy. And don't forget, I think I missed one of these actually because I've been so flustered with everything going on. But I'm doing giveaways on Patreon, and nobody is fucking reminding me to do this, and I forgot it. You shouldn't have to, but I did forget. So I am gonna post that tonight on Patreon. If you're not a patron, click that link down below. If you are, it'll be there on that feed, and you can pretty much just choose whatever game you want, and somebody's gonna win some shit. But we do have a ton of topics, guys. And again, thanks for joining us. Over 1,000 already, guys. Hit that like button, share us out. We do appreciate it. As we get into the first topic, which I just we had to cover this because this is a blessing. This is what we've been asking for since the July showcase. Ever since we saw Craig Infinite running through the bushes, licking some poles with no textures on his face, we've been asking for Halo Infinite to get delayed because if you guys did not know, this game wasn't going to have ray tracing at launch. It obviously barely had mountains. Some shits was popping in and out, and textures was a question mark. So we definitely wanted Halo Infinite to get pushed back, and we've been saying, ever since Phil said it was coming out with the new console, we don't like that. We don't like the fact they put a date on it. We want it to be done when it's done, and they have come out and officially cited, obviously, the pandemic and things as the reason this is happening, and hopefully the game launches full, complete, to their vision with some damn ray tracing on the console that they are supposed to be leveraging it on. So, again, Zalker, what was your thoughts when you first saw this, and were you surprised at all? It's kind of random.
I was actually surprised because I didn't think that they were going to do that, because this is great for Halo Infinite, but like I think I've seen this before, it was bad for the Xbox Series X, because the launch with Halo is like, that's huge, right? Like Halo's the biggest franchise. But after seeing the gameplay, right, and we edit videos, I've seen the gameplay multiple times, and I've watched it again in 4K. The game needed to be delayed, and I instantly said that on Twitter. There's no such thing as a bad delay. Cyberpunk's been delayed 85 times. Uncharted 4, which is an amazing game, was delayed a couple times. Like, that's just what happens.
Something I noticed is the guys were giving this game shit for getting delayed. Meanwhile, Last of Us 2 just got delayed, and they were praising the fuck out of that. So are we. We wanted Last of Us to get delayed if it needed to, and apparently this is a bad delay, though, right, chat?
Well, and that's annoying. The thing that's annoying about, like, people are like, making fun of the delay, it's like, I always went by the old Blizzard adage. When everybody asked Blizzard, when's this game coming out? They said, it'll come out when it's ready. And that's all they said. And then they never gave a date until it was ready. And that's what I want Xbox, Sony, every goddamn game developer to do that. Just release it when it's ready. And if so, it's not ready with the ray tracing, it's not ready with a lot of stuff. There's been reports, right? Like everybody was like, oh my God, there's no multiplayer. And it's like, that was all stupid. But like, just delay it, fix it up, do what you got to do, and make sure it launches with ray tracing so you can actually take advantage of the box that we buy.
Yeah,
and that's what I want.
I'm paying $500 for it, man. That's something that people don't understand. Like when we're talking about frame rate, they're like, I'm fine with 30 frames. It's like, that's not why we're complaining, guys. We've all enjoyed 30 frames per second games, even though 60 is way better. We're saying that we want what we're paying for, and we know that games can do 60, no problem in the box. I do get a shout out to Dark CMF. He says, did you guys run the new string to Tim Dog's mic? Kent, he says, time to hype the architecture. Well, hey, when they use the damn architecture, there's definitely no mountains popping in. Tempest Sun, shout out to you, buddy. He says, the internet delay Halo 343 delay, or hang on. Yeah, the internet delay Halo 343 Halo, the internet. Jesus, Xbox is dead. Yeah, that's the same double standard I was just talking about, and it's a good point. They didn't say that with Naughty Dog, and neither did we, because we wanted both of these games to get delayed if they needed to. Tim Dog, thanks for joining us, buddy. It's good to have you.
Good to be here. Can you hear me well with the mic?
You're crystal clear, sir.
Yeah, so shut up. Whoever that person was.
Tim, what was your thoughts on Halo for this delay, man? What did you see on Twitter?
Listen, their plan originally was to show the power off through Halo. Yeah. That was their plan from 2017. And today, listen, for me, it's a disappointment. I think it hurts their launch a lot. I think that they kind of put all their eggs in one basket with Halo, and if they had released it, it would have been great because they really would have outclassed the competition. But they didn't, and here we are. I mean, it's like Zorka said, it's probably for the best, definitely. You rather them not crunch and push out a product that's not going to be that good without ray tracing at launch. That was a big letdown to begin with.
Tim, let me ask you this though. An article came out today saying Bugsnax is PS5's most compelling launch game or something like that, right? And and I started thinking about it and like, hang on, is this motherfucker serious? I went in there and started researching like, hang on, Ratchet and Clank ain't coming out this year. What? Wait, what? What is coming out this year? Like, are they still better off?
I thought Ratchet was a launch title. That's not true.
No,
right?
No, it's not. It's not.
So what is Sony launching with? And how come people are like Xbox is launching with nothing? Ha ha ha.
Spider-Man DLC, yeah.
Well,
Okay,
I was going to say,
Spider-Man
they have
DLC.
the most compelling DLC coming out.
Well, I mean, I'm playing it, right?
I am going to play the shit out of that. I ain't going to leave front. I'm talking shit, but I'm going to play it.
But my overall feeling, though, it was just disappointment because I really wanted them to hit the launch. I really wanted to play it this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
But for the game, do what's best for the game. And, I have a feeling the delay is going to be a little bit longer than we think. I think they're going to really...
6 months, probably.
Yeah.
Longer.
About that.
I mean,
maybe longer.
They need a delay until it's done, right?
Yeah, but I think that this being that they have more time, that they might want to even maybe make it a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like if you have a little more time now, you can do this and you can do that. Things that you had to cut, maybe you can add it back in.
Yeah.
And
did they get another studio in to help them out with this as well?
Are they bringing in other first parties?
Yeah, they've had a ton of people in on this. They've had
people from Turn
news to me.
People
That's
from
just like.
Well, they need manpower, right? So I heard they brought in people from Turn 10 and stuff to help on Halo. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tim's saying that's accurate. So they're apparently, maybe that's why Forza's kind of pushed back and Craig didn't have a face and, all this stuff is happening because they brought in more help.
Wasn't there issues at 343 as well during production? Like,
Yes.
haven't they changed a lot and done things over the course of the 5 years they've been spending on this game? Like a lot of this stuff has been drastically changed, right? I mean, Halo went from being run of the mill, the 343 look that they were giving us with 4 and 5 to what we see today. But I think it just went a little too far into that direction. I don't know. I just think that looking at what we saw, what we got during the show, like you said, Dealer, we both were saying that this should be delayed. It doesn't look like a finished product. All that pop-in and stuff, lack of details. I mean, there was so much going on with this that was negative, and people were laughing at this game. I mean, it became a mockery, a meme, this whole game. So for all these people, these same people to laugh now that, haha, it's being delayed, you're the same people that were laughing at what it looked like. So it makes absolutely zero sense that you're mocking that we're actually getting something in a positive direction now with Halo, that it's finally going to be addressed, these issues. Now,
what are you seeing
how long
on Twitter?
that's going to take?
Like, why are these people making fun of a game delay when they just got done praising Naughty Dog for doing it?
It's not just Twitter, though. It's articles, it's, YouTubers, it's a bunch of different people, influencers out there that are all, that were making fun of this. Even Domino's got in on all the jokes. And,
on the delay?
Well, no. I'm talking about it becoming a big meme and everything. But at the end of the day, a delay is never a bad thing. I still have very little hope for 343. It's just my opinion. I don't think they've done a good Halo yet, but you take all the time you need to try to get it right. That's what I say, because what we saw was not good.
Chat, let me know if you think this is a good thing. Hang on. I must be... okay, someone lethal just crushed this guy. I'm like, damage control. Somebody said he was damage control. I'm like, what fucking word of anything Fonz just said was damage control? The motherfuckers know what this ain't wrestling, bitch. You know what damage control is? Like, he's basically saying that just like Last of Us or any game that wasn't finished and needed pushed back,
Cyberpunk,
just like Cyberpunk, just like Uncharted, just like Horizon Zero Dawn, just like a lot of these games that come out, you need a delay, and I don't understand why people think that's a bad thing. We've said it over and over. There's no such thing as a bad game delay.
I think it's the timing of it, to be honest. I think because the Xbox Series X is supposed to launch, it's supposed to be a launch title. So there's that disappointment there because there's already kind of a void there, and now there's like a real void there because that game is delayed. But I think it's for the best because we all saw that game. You were right. The textures, like it's just not ready. You have a brand new system launching, and you can't have your your flagship game launch with all of the key features of that system, then there's a problem. And I think it's for the best for the game to be delayed. I think Tim's right. I think it's going to be much more than a 6-month delay. I think quite possibly we might have to wait till next, fall of 2021, and I'm okay with that. Just get the game right. Like, this is their flagship game. There is no game higher than Halo on the Xbox platform, and it can't be treated like a stepchild. Like,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. So take all the time you need.
How are you treating your stepchildren?
And the fans out there that are fake upset. First of all, if you're a fan of the game, you weren't happy with what you saw. So the delay, although it's disappointing, you understand it. And if you're a fan of the game, it gives you some hope. I have a little bit more hope, like another year of development or like another 10 months of development time on that game. I think they could do wonders. They clearly need to clean that game up. The textures are just, it's just not up to par. And they couldn't release it in that state. And I'm glad that they got the backlash that they did, because it looks like if they didn't get that backlash, we probably would have got some half-finished version of the game that they would patch as they go along. So I think it's a good thing.
KY
and
Bob, real quick. He says a delayed game will be good eventually. Oh, this is a Nintendo.
Oh, I knew
quote.
this someone was going to say this.
You didn't even cite Mr. Mario, whatever, Yamasaki, whatever his name is. He says a delayed game will be good eventually. A bad game will be bad forever. And that does come right from Nintendo. So again, I don't feel like chat kind of agrees like this is a good thing, right? And again, we said the same thing with the Sony stuff. What?
I'm sorry.
Gas?
Okay, wait. Listen, my G.
Explain yourself.
Look. I'm a bit massive Halo fan. You guys keep saying that there's no such thing as a bad delay.
Oh, you're being serious. You really do disagree. You didn't see them textures on Craig's face.
But slightly, I agree with you. Like, as a massive Halo fan, I'm actually quite hopeful. I needed a delay because I cannot withstand Craig's face no matter how much the internet loves him on release. But it's a bad delay because this is the flagship title. The fact that we witnessed the way it was revealed was already bad. But I wanted to experience Halo day one. Day one on my Xbox Series X. That was the value proposition of a Series X. This thing, and come on, man, this would be a very difficult conversation at Microsoft headquarters. Like, you're delaying this shit. Like, this thing would have sold the Xbox Series.
Then they just held up Craig's gimpy eyeball and they're like, it ain't that difficult. Let's do it.
But would you really have enjoyed what you saw there? I mean, with all the pop-in and lack of details, like that would have really hurt the experience.
That's assuming, like, okay, well, if this is delayed next year, that ray tracing better be fucking there, man. Because I can't take any more excuses, man. I don't care if it's COVID-20. You need to get this unlocked. Like, 343 have a responsibility. There's so much riding.
What that ray tracing at, Gas?
Huh? Sorry.
Where's that ray tracing, huh?
I know, I need that ray. I need to see through bloody Master Chief's reflective visor. When I saw that, I got a peptic ulcer inside my arse when I saw that shit.
All right.
GameOneDaily.com. Hey, we've got Harpier. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. So Harpier Dawns. I don't know if that's what that is, but thank you for the super chases. Delaying Halo and Tim Dog's new mic. This is actually an old mic for Tim Dog, but he's going hard today. Has been the best decision of 2020. Salute from Columbia. Thank you so much, sir. Do appreciate it.
Well, let me jump in for a second. Let me jump in. And this is honestly these people making fun of all these people making fun of the freaking like delay and all this. There's no wonder why publishers and developers don't give release dates anymore, because games are going to get delayed, and games get delayed usually almost 100% of the time. This is why Sony didn't give one release date for their games and just said holiday 20 on Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that's it. And this is why, because if they do give something like, hey, it's going to come out October 20th or whatever, people are going to be like, all right. And then when it gets delayed, they're going to be like, it's in development hell. It's fucked. And that's it. And they get mad. And it's over. And that's why it's just so annoying, man. It's like people are just not self-aware.
Yeah.
And there's a pandemic, for God's sake, man. You have to actually justify that.
Failed Pyromancer, shout out to him. He's one of the few Sony guys. He plays with the rats in the trash can occasionally, gets lost, and he gets kind of misguided a little bit. But I think Failed Pyromancer is a good guy. And a lot of you guys give him shit, but he's a good guy. He says, personally, I think Halo delay is a great thing. 343 should not release the game in a state, the state that it is, like Game Pass filler. Of course you fucked it up at the end, Failed Pyromancer. There's not much Game Pass filler, okay? I already list off all the great games that come out on Game Pass, goddammit. He says he didn't want to release them in a rough state, basically.
Doesn't that just go against what he just said there? Because if they just release Game Pass filler, I mean, they're actually taking time with their biggest franchise here to be put in there.
Right.
I mean, and we had Gears 5
like
in
Gears
Game Pass.
and Forza
It was
and
a
Ori
great
and
game.
so on and so
Come
forth,
on,
yeah.
you know.
I gotta get
bullshit
Assassin
fanboy
Looper real quick too, and I want to throw it to somebody who hasn't spoken. But she said she would like to thank Dealer and everyone on RDX for all of the support and well wishes throughout a very bad time for her. She says my gaming fam saved me. Facts. Thank you so much, Lupa. We're glad you're better. We watched some UFC fights and stuff together. So Lupa's OG, and she's I don't know. I'm glad she's okay. And Xbox Battleground says a delayed Craig is eventually good, but a rushed Craig is forever bad. Yes, hopefully Craig comes back with some gains in a face. So basically, Chris Grinnell. All right, as a developer, as a guy that knows the industry and has been around, you can probably relate a little. I don't know how this has affected your personal projects with the pandemic, but from a developer's point of view and perspective, what do you think has kind of slowed them down the most when it comes to the pandemic, and how much harder do you think it's made this game to develop? Because we've all seen those trailers, the Infinite Year 1 and Year 2 gameplay stuff. Remember that ray tracing was in that visor in Year 1 years ago. They had it in there. So that was just, I don't know, like what happened from that to, Xbox 360 edition Halo.
I think I think some of the concerns for me when I started looking at the kind of development path was the kind of change in graphics engine. So obviously those guys were originally working on Unreal, I think it was. So they switched the engines over. So that's always a bit of a worry when you're kind of smack bang or you're a good few years down the line of development. I don't think COVID has been the kind of tipping point. I think there's been a final element where it's obviously affected a few things, but I think by the looks of the trailers and the gameplay that we saw, there were a lot of problems with the game, and I think as Gaz was saying, Microsoft have Xbox have pushed that, and it's new console and all of the ray trace and all of these great kind of technical advances, and it's just a massive own goal, unfortunately, for Xbox, because you want to launch that console with either a Forza, which is looking which would look tremendous, or a Halo, and you've now launched without either, and they are kind of system sellers to a degree. You've got a quality launch title to kind of move with, but I think a lot of people there's plenty of fake outrage out there, because a lot of people are kind of just seeing this this games get delayed all the time. So I know I've kind of mentioned it a few times, but Killzone 2 was running 2.5 years late. They started to introduce people from Studio Liverpool, Studio Cambridge, every single Sony studio started working on that game to get it out of the door. But that wasn't because Guerrilla and developers were shit. It was because people were kind of taking the time, getting the creative direction right, getting the gameplay right. And then at some point, the business will eventually tip to where you have to get something out the door because you're spending millions and millions of pounds, dollars, whatever on these games. Right. So you start to throw resource at it. So this is not to say 343 are a crap studio. There were another two studios, I can't remember. There was obviously some of the Turn 10 guys were supposedly working on it. There was another PC conversion studio, I can't remember who it was.
I remember that, yeah.
Started working on it. So, they started kind of throwing mods and people at it to try and get it out on time. But, it's just got to the point where it was not sustainable. It probably wasn't performing how they expected. It wasn't looking how they expected. It was missing key technical, technologies and advances. And for me, it's Sony are absolute genius at kind of marketing their products. Like Zolka, some of the other guys were saying, they don't talk about specific launch dates until they know that it's done, it's got gold, and it's then they decide when they put the thing out. And they also show, they essentially show a tech demo. So when they show a game, they've, they might be running it on, a PC dev kit, whatever that may be. but it'll be bells and whistles. It'll be a slice of the game. It'll be, ramped up to the 9th degree.
We saw that with Last of Us and Ghost. Digital Foundry confirmed both those games were downgraded in their videos. That's their words, not mine. So they showed those games running on something else, probably PS5 dev kit or something.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not to say when the game eventually comes out, the bad games, because they're not. They make great story-driven, compelling games, but the downgrade is almost kind of forgotten. They know how to kind of market, they know how to push, they know how to PR the hell out of a game or a couple of games which are going to sell hardware, going to get people excited. And I think, the marketing guys, PR guys, whoever's in charge at Xbox has just not got that side of things down to a T. There's a lot of own goals, and it's not me asking for people to get fired or anything like that, but there's just no lessons learned. And I think for me, they should have. They knew they were on the cusp of Halo being delayed. In that reveal, I would have come out. I would have gone, it's delayed. These are the reasons. We're going to show you early gameplay, so you can see the work in progress or whatever, and a slightly different narrative to everyone. So people weren't expecting too much, but to push that out with pop in, no ray tracing, none of these kind of, none of these kind of advanced elements.
I talked to somebody at Xbox pretty high up, and I had another buddy talk to someone else, and neither of these people knew that these problems are actually in the demo. And I'm like, you guys should have seen these demos before this was all pre-recorded, this is all pre-recorded and they streamed it live, right? So I don't understand how it made it past their eyeballs. Maybe a lot of people in the chat watched it on a phone, and I'm watching on a 65 OLED. I saw every bit of, you go back and you're like, holy shit. So we've kind of heckled and talked about those problems, and they're not acceptable. Basically, Chris, what you're saying is that it wasn't really solely the pandemic that did this. They were just not on they weren't where they needed to be, and this pandemic was just that little bit extra that they wouldn't have made it either way. Basically, is what it seems like.
I agree with Chris. I think today's thing, even with anything, is you can blame COVID. I do believe with what Chris. I think he really summed it up well there, and that's attributed to his expertise and being in the field and understanding this stuff. But overall, there's this. I think I know that everyone's saying it's a good thing, but this is a little bit of a black eye on them.
Yeah,
of course it is.
They should have had better quality control. They should have, they should be able to spot a demo like that before it goes out and say, hey, this is going to get ripped apart.
You're like, your Xbox, right? Like, you're going to get destroyed.
I hate to say it.
It goes beyond the demo.
But I'm saying this. This reminds me. I hate to say it, of what was happening with Crackdown 3.
Yep.
They had that reveal, and everyone was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And then a month later, 2 months later, just like this, it got delayed. And I'm not going to say that this is the same pedigree of developer. The 343 has what we might not have liked it, but they've proven that they can put out a somewhat of a quality game.
What have they made besides Halo 4 and 5?
Well, Halo 4 got 87 Metacritic. The second one, the third, Halo 5, I think we all agree, was it's just not up to the Bungie, that level. And I'm with you, Grounded. I kind of am now at the point where I don't think that 343 is ever going to achieve that greatness that Bungie did.
Okay,
I think it's a bit too hard.
But let's expand. But I want to expand on that a bit, because to Chris Grinnell's point when he's talking about how COVID has little to do with this, because they did have 5 years prior, and we know that they went through some dramatic changes within the game and stuff. But that to me kind of speaks volumes on the developer when they can't get their shit together.
Well, too, we got to counter the headlines.
You
got to counter the headlines, because I feel bad when Chris talks. You got all these people, these sites that watch the show, and Chris is saying basically if they had everything else checked off like they should have, this wouldn't have happened whatsoever.
Exactly,
COVID.
because by the time we get the demo, it's already too late. And I mean, this whole COVID thing, I mean, it's only been a few months, and we're talking years. So when I'm looking at the developer, and I've been side-eyeing 343 ever since Halo 4. I mean, that's just me on this panel, but I just don't think that they are the right team. I honestly don't. And I want to expect better from them. I hope that they get, this right. But that's all wishful thinking. And at the end of the day, I don't have much faith in 343 at all.
Well, let's see how that turns out. Let me get to this real quick, because this is interesting. Mario in the super chat, he says, dealer, how can Microsoft launch the Series X? Basically talking about the punch of next generation power. As fans of Xbox, we need to see the machine live up to the promise, other than just optimized back compact games. Can you convey this to Microsoft? We have said this from day one. They need to show the power of the box, and that's why we didn't like the first June event thing, or what was it, the May thing they showed with the indie game stuff. We didn't like the July stuff overall. I guess we did like it because they revealed X, Y, and Z, but they didn't show us the power of the box. We've said this over and over, but you will be getting a ton of third-party support, just like Sony, right? So kind of pick your poison. So thanks, Mario. We have been voicing that. Zulu, he says, the one launch may have been Matrix, but Rise, Dead Rising, Forza, and Killer Instinct look better next to my day one edition. Do you think the Series X launch has lost the day one allure? As a fan of, yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
I think it did hurt Xbox Series X. I think it hurt it a lot, because now what do we have that's launching with it? Halo was the big thing. It was it, right? Like, they launched the original Xbox with it. Halo is the big thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy the delay happened, because I want a better game than, just get it out with the console. I don't give a shit about sales. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to play games that are good. And that's what I want to do. So, yeah, it does hurt the Xbox Series X launch. I think it really does hurt it. And I'm going to get it day one either way. And I'm going to get a PS5 day one either way. But PS5 does have, right now, more appealing launch titles that you have to buy the console for, right?
Which ones are those?
I don't like that, but it is what it is. It is going to hurt the console, and I think Xbox knows that.
Hey, chat, can you tell us the confirmed launch titles for PlayStation? I mean, so far we know it's Spider-Man, the DLC, Godfall, which Sony are not making
awful, I call it.
As much as we don't like,
I mean, I'm talking first party made by Sony. What are they launching? And then this is a genuine question. So far we know Spider-Man, the standalone DLC. What else?
Don't think there's anything else, man.
I don't think there's anything else.
We saw Ratchet. I thought Ratchet, but I guess not.
Apparently, Ratchet and Clank is not.
Yeah, they don't like the comparisons I've seen. Yeah, people are just getting excited because they're not genuine Halo fans. But and I think you guys are being a little bit harsh on Halo as well. Fonz, I love you, man, but just respectfully disagree that if you go into Halo's comments, and I made a video on why I think Halo could be one of the best games ever, no one's complaining about the gameplay. We're squarely focused on the visuals. The story of what they're doing, an open world gameplay that they've done. Halo 4 had smashed the story and messed up the multiplayer. Halo 5
I don't agree. Cortana,
no. What do you mean by smashed? Do you mean fucked up the story?
General sentiment is that Halo 4 smashed the story and multiplayer was shit. Halo 5 flipped the script and had a shit story, but a really good compelling multiplayer. They just need to get that right with Halo Infinite. And no one is complaining about the gameplay because that looks sick. And it's finally going back to what the core of what Halo is. And I've been critical about that from day one. And it's 343 doing it, not Bungie. So I think graphics, yeah, fine. They're underwhelming. I've said that and that can be rectified. But the gameplay is harder to get. And they fundamentally going back to that spirit of that in an open world game is the true core of what Halo is. Don't want to overstate that. I think 343 have proven themselves that they can do bits of it right. Now they just need to do the full package.
I think people are focused on the visuals because there were some pretty surprising results for something that is leveraging, or supposed to leverage that power. And also, usually the one thing developers don't fuck up in a vertical slice is the graphics, right? Usually they get downgraded. Halo's case, they're supposed to get upgraded with ray tracing and crap, right? So that was just really weird. We all did like the gameplay and stuff, and usually if the visuals aren't down, like, it just shows the progress of the game. It seems like a little more than some other things.
I think I just got to disagree a bit with Gaz there because, hey, look, 343 with their Halos, 4 and 5 both, the AI didn't compare to Bungie's Halo at all. The elites were not as good as they were. They don't flank you as much. They don't try to really come at you as hard as they did in the old Bungie Halos 1 through 3. Go back and play those games. Those games are played way better when it comes to the AI. There's lots of reasons why I don't like 343's Halo. I'm a huge fan of Halo 1 through 3, but I love those old Halo games. But with 4 and 5, 343 for me has not connected with me at all. It's like they haven't connected with the franchise. It's like they have not made that franchise their own yet. And I don't think that they will. I have less and less faith as we go on.
Yeah, they haven't developed that character story and campaign set piece and even just mainline plot, in my opinion, either. Halo 4, you walked around, you push buttons for 90% of the time.
Yeah, but 4 was okay though. Let's just 4 wasn't as bad as 5 was. Just like I couldn't play it, man. I just had to put it down. I understand some people's concern that the game's delayed for the launch because it is going to be a big deal for launch. Some people are going to choose to hold off on getting a Series X until Halo comes. It was definitely going to be a system seller, but it had to be done. I think it's bad timing. It's unfortunate, but I don't know, man. It's what it is, man.
That's a great way to put it, D. It's just bad timing. It really is. But
Diego says Halo being delayed is actually good for the game, but bad for Series X. Yeah. Microsoft. Again, you can play this game on multiple platforms, and if you're gonna, I guess, knowing that it's coming to Series X, it is what it is, and we were never okay with them putting a date on the date. SM says, hell yeah, Gaz. Well said. It's about gameplay. It's about everything. You should be able to get gameplay in a fucking game with textures in it too.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree with that.
And if you're buying the Xbox Series X just because of Halo, then I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm getting it because it's the platform I prefer, and it's all the games are going to look fucking amazing on it. Third party
and it's more
included.
future-proof than any other console out there. So it's not very short-sighted thinking especially when the competition doesn't have anything compelling. That we're struggling between 6-7 of us to even name one PlayStation exclusive. These consoles are going to last a lot longer than 1 month. So
hey, let me give a shout out real quick to 2,600 people watching us live, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't. We do appreciate it. You power the show. You make us what we are. Hit that like button, share it with a buddy or two, tell a friend, post it on a forum so some of them can lie about what we said. We appreciate it. And also, if you guys haven't, let us know your thoughts in the chat. Neon Shinobi kind of sums up the newer Halo games. And again, let us know if you like the newer ones. Some people absolutely swear by them. Some don't. And that's fine. You're okay to disagree. Neon Shinobi says, Halo, at its core, is a sci-fi military shooter. I feel like 4 and 5 lacked. Basically, a lot of that, what the previous Halo games had in terms of the sci-fi nature and stuff. Yeah, I feel like they lacked a lot. But at the end of the day, they were what they were. And Halo 4 was apparently supposed to be an Xbox One launch title. And they didn't. They actually pushed it forward to the 360. So, well, pretty interesting.
And everybody has to remember with delays, even if you look at the PlayStation 4 this generation, everything from Horizon Zero Dawn to Ghost of Tsushima was delayed. Most of their big AAA games were delayed. And so that's why I don't understand the backlash we're getting from some of their fans because,
it's like Dee said, it's bad timing. It's just bad timing. That's really what it's compounded because it was supposed to be the showcase and obviously it's not. And listen, I know for a fact Xbox was really banking on Halo to be their showcase, and obviously it wasn't going to happen, and they just realized. And listen, could they probably get it? Could they get it done with a crunch? And what these these studios have, talked about how they go through these 20-hour days, maybe, but I don't think that it's worth to do that. And they're not going to do that. Phil has said that. He cares about the employees and that stuff. So that's where I think maybe the COVID, did play into it, where they couldn't really crunch or they couldn't, hit it. But, for overall, if they had their druthers, they would be launching this game. I think Xbox also, you look at them and you look at their relationship with 343. You have to, if Xbox, 343 can take a little bit of heat here. They've had a rocky development. We know that in 2018, the creative director stepped down, I believe, Timothy Longo. They also lost Josh Holmes, who is heading the multiplayer. So and they put Chris, and Chris took over. The fact of the matter is that they were pushing it up until last month that they could showcase this and get this out there. So the reason why this is such a bad launch is because a delay is because there's really no backpack. There's not a Forza there. I mean, even Xbox One X had Forza at launch. This doesn't really have anything other than multiplats, which I believe are going to, outdo PlayStation by a nice margin. But it's just their launch or their idea of selling a ton and getting out there and be competitive. That's out the window right now. I think that Sony kind of locked it in now that they're
With what
With
game?
Godfall?
I'm still like with
No,
Godfall,
I'm
like,
just
or what?
I just think that Spider-Man because
Fuck
people
Spider-Man,
listen.
man. That's
Me
DLC, that shit.
agreed. We on this panel know, but when a person comes to a store or when they talk to their kids, they're not going to know that. They're going to say, "Hey, Spider-Man."
It's
That's
Spider-Man.
it,
Exactly.
and that's it. That's going to sell the system.
It's the same with Avengers as well. The Spider-Man exclusivity. It sounds ridiculous because obviously,
Right.
It's huge.
people playing the beta and stuff. It's not getting the greatest of feedback on that. But you're right, Tim Dog. It's the kid asking their parents for the console with Spider-Man on, or asking to play Spider-Man, asking to. Sony just always get their marketing right. Whether it's an anti-consumer move where they've paid a shitload of money for something or what. They always just do that little extra element, just to get people not like us on the panel, not like a lot of the guys and girls in the chat, but just the everyday kids who ask for a console and and I want to play Spider-Man, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Yeah, but Chris, didn't the tables have been flipped? Didn't Xbox do the exact same thing with Xbox One? They bought the timed exclusivity for Tomb Raider. They bought Titanfall timed exclusivity for the kids. I think there's a narrative control here. Because there's a bigger market where Sony applies. I think there's a bit of a double standard there. Right now, we're hearing that Sony are doubling down on their money hatting practices. Now, when this was, if you cast your mind back to when the Xbox One was launching, my God, they were under a microscope and for everything. When we were shouting at them for everything, and fair enough, this is all contributed by Xbox's massive fucking blunder with everything with the Xbox One. But Sony are going money hunting for a reason. They are, despite everyone saying it's got this deluge of games that we can't even name. It's because they don't have that compelling title. They want to avoid. There's a two-pronged approach to this. They're money hunting hard because they do not want those third-party comparisons day one. I agree with you that the marketing is key, like day one with Spider-Man, but also things like the comparative power of the two consoles. They do not want that to be shown.
Here's the difference, though, guys. Is Microsoft did that in 2013, and you're right, they did, but they were not building games in the background hardly at all. They didn't have any studios. And true. Sony were building these games in the background. They had some paid timed exclusives as well last generation, or this generation rather. So, and they're doing the same thing here. They know, and I've made videos about this 6-8 months ago, how Sony are paying third parties to fill in these gaps until their big games are ready. And Microsoft are doing the same, just potentially not to the same degree, right? So that's what the medium is. That's what these little games are that, but is any of them a killer app? I can't say yes to that right now, but
hey,
we can't say that with Sony
last,
either right now.
One last thing, I just want to say something really quick, and I'm going to shut up about this whole Halo thing. But one thing I just want to tell people that don't really understand where I'm coming from with the whole 343 thing is the fact that this will be the third game in the same franchise that 343 will be creating. I feel like they should be firing on all cylinders by this point, and they're just not. And that is my biggest issue with them and this Halo franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point.
100%. You look at the guys at Codemasters who have had the F1 franchise for X number of years now, and every game has just got better and better and better, and it's not been delayed, and they've been releasing a yearly cycle. And obviously,
it is a little different though, right?
no, well,
I mean, this is Halo. Like, they have so many expectations. They had a new engine. Apparently, coming from a different one. You know.
Yeah, but it's about, you know, you should know your shit when you're on your third game.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't be then talking about, you know, swapping engines out and this, that, the other. There's some fundamental issues there. And I mean, someone in chat before was like, Phil Spencer needs firing and stuff, which is just a load of bollocks, really. What that person saying? You know, it doesn't travel around the world and sit with a dev team and fucking make the decisions and this, that, the other. It's down to the nth degree or whatever. That's why you have studio heads, you have creative directors, you have art leads, you got, you know, all these things. But something has happened there, and it needed to be delayed because you can't release it. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad for the console launch, but Joe, we haven't even seen like Cyberpunk on the Series X, or Xbox have probably seen a lot of third-party games which are going to come out, and they are going to absolutely, you know, smash the opposition, or they're going to look awesome. They're going to fill in the kind of, you know, the ray tracing narrative, the power narrative, this, that, the other. So maybe they're a little bit, you know, calmer about it. I'm not saying it's good that Halo's delayed, but there's still going to be products out there which are, you know, you get your free upgrades. You know, arguably Cyberpunk's going to launch when Series X launches anyway, if they're both November. You know, so yeah, it's a third-party game, but that could launch and look absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's the biggest game of the year, right? Cyberpunk. So
yeah.
Hey, Chris, I just want to ask you a quick question because, you know, amongst developers, you guys obviously have your own chatter. So did you hear any of your developer friends mention that Halo actually did undergo a change of engines? Because there's some rumors circulating that, you know, they were using Unreal Engine and then they switched to the Slip Space engine. Personally, if that's true, I think that could be a big reason why the visuals look the way that they look. And also, I would think it's a mistake. Why would you switch from Unreal Engine? That's a tried and true engine, and especially with the improvements that it has now. But anyways, have you heard anything about that?
No, so I've heard the rumors of the engine switch, but you know, I've got you know, nothing coming solid to kind of back that up. I think if an engine switch has occurred, then yeah, that's going to be a major issue. The one thing I'm wondering about is, you know, this investment, and I know Sony has only invested in like 1.9% or whatever of Unreal, and we've got, you know, Hellblade 2, or the next Hellblade is being built on Unreal and so on and so forth. But I just wonder whether there's something in that, whether there's a little bit of nervousness, and, you know, do we want to be using that technology and stuff? If the engine rumor is true, you know, what does it do for future games? I'm not saying Xbox is going to drop Unreal or developers are going to drop Unreal and stuff, but it's a little bit of a genius move for Sony. You know, they've got kind of PR deals with Unreal. You know, they've made an investment into Unreal Engine. There's just it's easy to kind of unsettle, you know, in certain ways by doing these kind of, you know, tactical investments and purchases and things like that. And I don't know if an engine change, you know, why drop Unreal? You know, it can deliver what they're trying to deliver with Halo Infinite. You know, what was it about? You know, that's what that's the details I've not got, but I have heard that an engine change has occurred. But, you know, there's going to be people in this panel who will know whether that's, you know, that was something for certain or not.
I mean, it could have been that they planned on building Space out while they were working on the next Halo. I don't know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, what happened, and we don't have the ability to say this is controlled experiment A and B, and we have a time machine. Let's go back. You know, at the end of the day, like, hey, it's getting delayed. This is what we said should happen ever since we saw the Domino's pizza with Craig's face on it. This is what we said should happen ever since we found out there was going to be no ray tracing at launch. And there just isn't enough. I want what the box can do, and at the very least, I want some damn mud to fly off the fucking tires on a goddamn Warthog. So again, like, that sounds dumb to some of you who are, you know, not really into the tech stuff, but understanding what the hardware can do and understanding what I'm paying for, I want this game to do more.
When I watched that. Yeah.
So again, we've said it from the beginning. We hope it gets delayed. We think it should get delayed. We didn't like it when they put a date on it with the box. And this is a good thing, Microsoft. We're glad that you guys are listening to the people of this show and most of the chat of this show and other fans around the world about the game and doing the best and the right thing by the fans. So Halo Infinite officially delayed into 2021. It could be 6 months or more. Remember that. They may give this game another year and really make it what it is, because I said this one of the last shows. You get one Halo. Yeah. You get one Master Chief. And this motherfucker needs to be put back in the oven. So let's go ahead and move forward a topic or two. Guys, again, thanks for joining us live, guys. 2,700 or so watching us live, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't. Share it out with a buddy or two. We got plenty of guys that prefer the PlayStation platform here. Thanks. Somebody's got to entertain you guys. So welcome to the show. Do appreciate it. And let's go ahead and give Apple some shit real quick about them being fuckfaces with Xcloud. Microsoft have finally said, you know what? It's Apple's fault. We can't get Xcloud on iOS right now, and I don't give a fuck what phone you have. This whole phone shit, so stupid to me. They're all trash. This is not pro-consumer. This is actually some bullshit, especially when you consider Apple Arcade and how they're working their little bullshit in. You got Netflix in there. You sign up for a subscription. You get all these shows and stuff. And apparently there's some loopholes with some separate transactions within each game, and it links to... It's stupid is what it is. I think they want 30% or something, Zucker, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the... Apple's fucking weird, man. They're a very closed-end system, and this isn't the only, like, company that's had problems with them in the past about like what they do with their app store. They're very strict on it, but this just sounds like they're just trying to stop Microsoft from getting a foothold in gaming on their platform.
They recognize what a true threat this is to their, like, they know what this is capable of on a global scale, and they're like rivals,
the servers, right? Just the servers, right? Like everything, they'll have like interconnectivity within their apps and everything, and it just like they don't want it, and they're just like, nope, not happening, sorry. And they made up some bullshit excuse of why, like with their terms, and it's like, I don't like it at all. I think it's dumb because there are a lot of iPhones out there, so if anybody has an iPhone, you kind of fucked, and that sucks, because again, it's the number one thing about Apple products is you're closed off, and that's what it is. That's what everybody says. Oh, well, you're kind of limited to what they allow you to do, and that's true. And it's even more evident now that you can't even play a game that you own on there, even though they, like dealers said, they have Netflix on there. And it's like, instead of like going through Netflix and going through every single show and movie that's on there, that's what they want to do to Xcloud.
Well, they got Apple Arcade, the whole thing, their little gaming service too, right?
And but again, they make the money off of that. And so it's just literally Apple versus Microsoft right there. And if you want to get in, like, you think the console wars are bad, holy shit. Like, you should see the phone wars. That shit's crazy. Like, those people are insane.
Yeah,
like, and
that's really weird.
It's like, it is really weird.
And it's not sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say, so the Apple, so obviously my current business at the minute kind of deals a lot with Apple. We do a lot of kind of mobile apps and stuff for sports clubs, and it's really tricky kind of developing stuff because you have to kind of adhere to the guidelines, and then there's they were quite kind of easy about signing up for subscription packages and things like that within the apps, and then it was about 18 months ago they kind of altered the guidelines and just put a brick wall in front of that. So the likes of Netflix and stuff, which Zorka's talking about, so if you go into the Netflix app, you can't modify your account, you can't do anything. Everything needs to be done in the web or outside of the actual app, and it's all down to the 30% that they want. They want that 30% cut. There's a little bit of there's a little bit of protection with the reviewers in terms of wanting to make sure that products and apps are of a certain standard or safe for people. But they've got age ratings on there, so even with Xcloud, when it was in test flight, it was still a 18 plus. You've got the selling GTA, San Andreas on there, which is a 17 plus and stuff like that. So it's boiling down to money on this. It's boiling down to a bit of protection on the kind of arcade, gaming
Seems like it's anti-competitive, is what it seems like.
Yeah, and it's the tricky thing about it is you can very rarely have a sensible conversation with people at Apple. It has to get kind of sent up, high up and higher up and higher up, and you really need to kind of know someone in the European side or to even start to kind of get past reviewers and get past or understand an interpretation of the guidelines and stuff like that. And that's what Xbox will have, they'll have come up against that. They'll want to do certain things on the platform. Apple won't like it. I think I had a conversation on Twitter with someone earlier this week saying, I thought it was a mixture of Apple Arcade, protecting that. It was the 30% cut. How are they going to get money off Xbox if it's on Xbox Ultimate? You've got it, so you're outside of Apple's ecosystem. You can sign up to Xcloud separately, but it's probably outside of Apple's ecosystem. And I think there's been a battle between Apple will want payments being supported through the system, so they get a cut, and Xbox won't want to do that because they'll have quoted what Netflix do, what YouTube do, what some other services do. So it's going to be an interesting one, but Samsung are going to dine out on that all day long. It's already on the adverts, it's everywhere.
Let me tell you, the controllers, the Razer Kishi controllers that you can put on the Samsung phones and like other Android phones, they've been sold out repeatedly. I finally was able to get one, and then later on that day it sold out again. People are really kind of excited for this cloud gaming, and when you really think about it, it kind of makes your phone better than a Switch, because the fidelity of the graphics that are on the cloud compute there, it's better than the Switch, like in all honesty.
Yeah,
and you got all your Xbox catalog of games there.
I guess I should tell them too, like in case you weren't fully aware, they're just not letting the Game Pass app basically on iOS right now. So they tied all the streaming to the Game Pass app, and I'm sure it'll eventually get worked out. You guys should definitely tag Apple, respectfully tell them to stop being
There's a
anti.
massive petition going.
I'm just saying that the voices matter. That's why Halo got delayed, and I think that you speak out, be respectful, and stuff like that.
Can I be honest? Apple is a completely different beast. They won't care for that. They're gonna say, listen, you want to play games? We have our own platform, and if they've gone to the extent to block it like this and to come up with some phony excuse, they're not going to allow it on the system. And it's not a matter of it not working, because if you have like a jailbroken iPhone, you can get the app on it, and people have got it to work. So it's nothing to do with their hardware or the way their system is. It's just they don't want it on it, and
they're fuck faces, basically.
Yeah, I don't see it coming anytime soon. And you know what? It's okay, because a lot of people own Android phones anyways, and
it's not okay. Voice your opinion. Tell Apple it's not okay, and that they need to change their fucking policies. Killer Omen, by the way, he says, I love Halo, but I'm day one regardless of the game delay. Now OLED needs a new toy. Also, now I can truly concentrate on Cyberpunk. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, now I don't have to really choose, I guess. Also, D has been quite good today. Does he have a swear jar now? No, D has done that on his own. Column. He says, I have an iPhone and I pay for Game Pass Ultimate. So it sucks that I can't actually use the service on his iPhone. I am legit thinking about getting a Samsung. By the way, I love the show, guys. Thank you so much, Colin. Do appreciate it, brother. And then Zulu, thanks for becoming a channel member. If you haven't become a channel member, hit that join button next to the subscribe button, guys. And support the content if you happen to give a fuck. Do appreciate it. Jeremiah, last one, he says, Dealer, thanks for this awesome gameplay, man. I really would like to see another game set in the BioShock world. We actually have a topic related to that tonight, guys, so do appreciate it, brother. The gameplay is, it looks a lot better without being streamed, but man, it's a pretty beautiful game for being a remake. And again, guys, everyone watching, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Share, tell a buddy. We do appreciate it, guys, as I move the subject along, because I honestly don't want to talk about this big negative topic for too long. That's just not stuff we focus on. There is something more interesting, though, kind of on the horizon that people are talking about. And Chris kind of brought it up, and Gaz brought it up, money hatting developers away from the competitor. We saw it with Xbox. We mentioned it last week. Phil's still hiding in a trash can from 2015 because of Rise of the Tomb Raider, which he probably will never pay for a big exclusive like that ever again. and they did help fund Rise of the Tomb Raider as a result.
Yeah, they did.
You know, but at the end of the day, they were making that game either way, guaranteed. And I guess Sony are going to be doing some similar things with some bigger titles, is what people are saying. So that's the thing for the PS5 launch. I mean, I'm hearing some pretty big names of games, and I'm not sure really what's, you know, are they spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to keep one of the biggest IPs of all time off of the competitor's box for a year? This is Rise of the Tomb Raider on the 5th scale, you know, so yeah, games like Fallout, GTA, etc. I'm talking games that are that big. There's a lot of rumblings right now that Sony are willing to shell out hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, over $500 million, to keep this game off of its competing platform for a year. I mean,
big money as well, because something Microsoft apparently isn't willing to pay. Then Microsoft has much bigger wallets, so Sony are really like ramping down on that. And what is that a sign of? You know, what do you think?
Well, we know Microsoft bought studios, and again, they haven't told us what they were, who they are, anything. So, I mean, maybe they're confident that they have enough studios to bypass that, and they don't find that strategically smart to purchase a temporary solution. But I'll tell you what, if Grand Theft Auto is exclusive for a year, or Fallout 5 is exclusive for a year,
huge.
That's a right hook from Tyson right to the Xbox's face. Like, what are you gonna do about that, Fonz? If that happens, like, how can they counter that aside from doing the same damn shit, which really starts this whole cycle? You know.
Yeah, with like a GTA 6, nothing. There's nothing.
Now, we're not saying it's gonna happen, but you know, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's one of those things that if something like that happened with that big a game, there's no competition. There just isn't. People will buy a PS5 for that reason. Even a year timed exclusive. Nobody's going to want to wait a year to play a big game like that. It's not going to happen. So
yeah, and I see it as
moves.
The thing that kicked this off was the Spider-Man thing in Avengers, and everybody was just kind of like, well, that's shitty and anti-consumer. And then, you know, everybody else was like, well, if you think that is, wait till you fucking find out next year what happens, because Sony, like, they are going around third party. And we've heard this for a while. Like, we've heard this behind the scenes for a while, that Sony's banking on third party games to kind of carry them into maybe 2022, and that's when their first party games will be ready. And
you know what, the soccer that doesn't really affect me that much. Like, it doesn't really bother me in the same way that the Spider-Man thing does within a game that's going out to everybody at the same time. That to me is kind of BS. All right. Because that to me is you're taking mechanics and shit from a game, a whole character from a game, content from a game, stripping it from other people permanently. That really bothers me. But when it comes to like a timed exclusive, even as big as GTA 6, that's huge for them, but it doesn't bother me in the same way. I don't feel like, oh my God, that's terrible. Let's get the pitchforks out. Not in the same way I do about the whole
Spider-Man thing. The Spider-Man thing is annoying. The Spider-Man thing is annoying, and I get what you're saying. And like, honestly, like Spider-Man, the game, the PS4 Spider-Man game, that being exclusive doesn't annoy me, because that game wouldn't exist without Sony funding it. Games like that are fine. I get that. Like, even when Rise of the Tomb Raider was exclusive to Xbox, back then I was actually kind of like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. Like, I really did. I was like, I'm going to play the game on Xbox, but it sucks that PC and PlayStation has to wait. And I remember thinking that. And so I think the same thing. If they buy timed exclusive third-party games, or games that we know are third-party, just for a year, like, I'm just like, that's so stupid. Because, I'm going to have a PlayStation 5.
It's just a smart business move, though.
It's a ruthless business move. And
it
they
really
need to drop their for the players moniker is bullshit, then just get rid of that, because that's clearly contradicting.
And
It's
so,
for
and
their
Phil's
players.
not going to do it.
It's
Phil
for
Spencer's
their
not gonna
players.
do it.
Their asterisk
Yeah,
for
it's
our
for their players.
only.
Yeah.
And Phil Spencer's not going to do that, because they've brought it up to him before, like the Tomb Raider stuff, and he said, yeah, I'm not in the business of buying stuff just so other gamers, like on other platforms, don't get things. And he said, he goes, that just doesn't seem cool to me.
Not
And
anymore,
that's, like,
rather,
true.
right? You know.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not
That's
anymore.
Like, he said that like 2 years ago.
I used to murder people with axes, but you
That
know,
was the
I
old
just,
Phil.
yeah, that was a feel of a different era. You know, so D, how do you feel about this? If this happens,
If they get GTA, that's huge. That one's gonna hurt for sure. because the next GTA, you know, it's going to look fantastic. And it's not going to matter that the Xbox Series X will run it better and at a higher resolution if it doesn't have it at all on the system, right? So at least for a year. And you know, they did this with Destiny. So we already know that they're capable of doing this. Rockstar, like, honestly, to tell you, they'll take the money. If Sony can pay them enough money to
Ain't
keep
got
it
the money for
platform,
GTA, man. Come on.
they'll take the money. And I could
I'll go to
absolutely-
Sun Loan and get a loan.
And I think we got a little prelude of this too with Sony's event where they showed GTA there, the online version that's coming to the PlayStation 5, whatever. I think that was a little hint. So I think there's some truth to that. I think it really sucks.
No, they've paid 750 million for that.
Epic. Yeah.
For GTA 5, oppressed.
Yo, don't underestimate Microsoft's pockets. They may have initially
they
said, "Ooh,
spent
nah."
750 mil for a GTA 5 on
No,
PS5.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
I was saying
Okay.
that
I'm like,
they
what?
paid 750
I mean, we're
million for the old GTA on
we're
the.
talking that kind of money though to keep one of these big games.
I mean, but GTA's $4-5-6 billion franchise. I don't think 750. If it was 700 mil or whatever, I don't think Rockstar would take it, or Take Two. Sorry.
there's so much more money to be made, right? Somewhere,
Yeah,
than that.
with the online services, you know, GTA 6.
Yeah.
Will almost be kind of, you know, a service as a game type thing. You could just see it going that way. You look at GTA Online, you look at Red Dead Online. You know, that's where they're making the big money. Yeah, the game sold massively, but it's those transactions, it's those purchases in the
I
online.
think the game
side,
made
which
like
is
$6 billion and cost $250 million to make. The only one, by the way, says, "I like this gas guy." He says, "Great show and panel. Thank you so much, sir."
Isn't Xbox doing the same thing though with games like the Medium and stuff? They have timed exclusivity.
It's not of the same caliber.
not-
That's the
it's
point
not
of this
No, it's
topic.
not
Is
the
this
same
is like
caliber.
the best?
What I'm
of the
saying
best.
though is, but that's what they're willing to spend. And
Well, no,
that
I don't
just
think
shows
the
you that-
Xbox. I don't think they're spending. I think they actually help fund the game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but
Like-
what
like
I'm
help
saying is,
make
at the
it.
end of the day, they still have a multi-plat that's timed exclusive, and they're doing the same thing essentially. They're just not willing to go the extra mile. For
I see
something
those
like
more as like a
GTA.
Godfall, though. It's not like
Yeah,
I see that more as like a Godfall or something that's
Yeah,
like a
but it's
second
all the
party or
same to
third
me.
party.
To me, it's all the same. You're taking
No,
you're
it's
taking
not.
the
It's
full
not the
game
same.
away.
Godfall and
Hey,
Medium,
hang on.
Like, not-
It's really simple. Like,
Level.
one is already an established fucking raking in billions of dollars. The other is a little indie studio that needs more money to help make their game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't feel like it's in the same caliber.
Where's those PS4
as-
controllers at, Fonz?
I don't think it's in the same caliber as, you know, say taking away a full character or content from a multi-plat game that's going out to everybody at the same time. That is, to me, that is scummy. But the other shit that's going on is just business to me. It's just like, whatever. We've seen this forever. Every generation we kind of see this now, and it is what it is.
Bounty Boom brings up Call of Duty in the 1 year for PlayStation. And then, I don't know what Game on Daily account this is, Gaz. Is this
Oh, it's my business mate.
Okay, hey, shout out to you, buddy. He says, Sony been money heading timed exclusive since Tomb Raider 2. Yes, Microsoft did it a lot. Yes, Microsoft made almost no games for the 360. Even their biggest titles were not even really produced by them. I think the Forza, and then they finally got something out with Halo 4. But, I mean, very, very small example of first party for Microsoft last gen. Again, guys, we want to give a shout out to everybody watching live. Let's try to crack 1,000 likes for the end of the show. We do appreciate it, guys. Do you think, and let me know, do you think, shout out to Tim, by the way, on Patreon, who just became a top tier member of Patreon. Do appreciate it, buddy. Do you think that Sony are going to pay hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to lock down some of the biggest IP of all time, like I said, Fallout, Grand Theft Auto, etc., for a year to basically say, you know what? Buy a PlayStation. We're all getting PlayStations here, but I definitely don't want to fucking play it on one if I don't have to, right? I prefer the Xbox ecosystem. Tim, I want to know your thoughts on this. I mean, I saw you making fun of, I saw you on Twitter making fun of somebody. What are your thoughts on this whole money hatting scenario, and if it's, how likely you think it is?
I would wait and see. I think that people are getting a little bit too crazy. I don't see GTA 6 doing it. Maybe
not.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna wait and see. That's the way I would take it. I think people are just, letting their imaginations go. If they do, secure one of those big titles, you know, they're playing within their right, and you know, I've told Phil this, and I've said it publicly. You know, it's a business, and they're not they're looking to beat you. They're not looking to play friends with you, and they're gonna do whatever it takes to win. And you know, I think obviously, you know, you see the writing on the wall with you know, Resident Evil 8, and you know, some of the murmurings, even with Chris Hitchhurd and other things. Xbox is gonna have a pretty big advantage, or it looks like to be a nice advantage with third-party games. And one way to fix that is to say PlayStation Advantage. We get exclusive content. And if
Can
that's
we agree
their,
that PlayStation is no longer the you know, pro-consumer platform now? Because that's a massive turn, Tim Dog.
yeah, well, I mean, listen, I mean, Xbox did it in 2015, and when
all
they
the
did
Xbox
it,
fans are like, yeah.
you know, and also all the Sony guys, basically, if you remember, there were death threats.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
you
And
know,
worse.
so you know,
So
the bottom line is that I would wait and see. I could see Final Fantasy maybe being one of the games.
I agree. Yeah.
I just don't see just like huge titles like Call of Duty. I can't see that.
yeah, I agree.
And I hope they ask
No.
them questions, you know, like they did with Rise of Tomb Raider. Is it coming to PS4? Is it coming to PS4? When's it coming to PS4? And
Yeah.
all those questions. I hope they do the same thing. Is it coming to Xbox? Oh man, that
But
was so freaking weird.
Xbox doesn't do that. You know, it's funny because Xbox. You remember when they had the Tomb Raider? They had because so many people asked and put pressure on you know, Tomb Raider. What was it? Crystal Dynamic, I think.
Yeah.
Was they actually announced early that the game was going multi-platform. If you remember when Xbox talked about it, they acted like it was exclusive. Obviously, it was always a 1-year exclusive, but because so many people made such a big deal of it, like in July of that year, they just basically said, just you know, let people know that it's going multi-platform, and that's because people go crazy, you know, when that happened. And Xbox fans, for whatever reason, they don't do that. They don't go to that extreme.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Because just a quick perspective on this, because we're a gaming platform. We were looking out for like influencers and stuff, and I couldn't, like, for the life of me, to this day, I cannot find like a PlayStation centric equivalent of you guys, like Dealer, Colt, Tim Dog, all of you guys. I can't
Trash.
find it. I can't find it. This lot, like, someone point it out to me because we want to promote the platform, but it's utter shite on that site. If you read that, I just don't see it. Someone direct that to me.
True.
Please.
Well, a lot of the Sony guys are focused on us rather than anything else. So
Are you surprised? I mean,
it's always been that way. It's always
we're
seemed to
doing
be that
things
way.
that ain't ever been done. And
I think just quickly on that kind of, you know, exclusives or timed exclusive stuff. It's, you know, there's no way, you know, as Tim was saying, there's no way that Phil and Xbox are gonna go down there, because the whole narrative is to kind of play anywhere. You know, we want to give consumers a choice. We want to give gamers a choice. You know, if you want to play on your Android, you can play on your Android. You know, through Xcloud and so on and so forth. So I think it would be really difficult for Xbox to do something massive, you know, other than studio acquisitions.
Yeah, that's the
to
only
kind
thing we
of-
can do.
Yeah, to deny, you know, a product being on a platform and still carry on with the narrative of, you know, we're pro gamer, you know, play anywhere, you know, availability to all. So I think Xbox have gone down that route, and I think it's a great route that they've gone down. And they just need to try and kind of resist, you know, some the GTA stuff for that. You know, it's got to be bollocks. I think, as Tim was saying, I can see it happening with the Final Fantasy. If we talk big, you know, franchise, I don't think it'd be GTA. I think it'll be a Call of Duty. You know, with Sony and Activision's kind of relationship, I can see them doing something slightly crazy on that. But I just think Take-Two and Rockstar just make too much money across a plethora of platforms to tie it down for a year. I just think it'd be mad business decision, really.
I hope so. I hope so.
By the way, guys, there's a guy called Mystic. He's probably, I would say, one of the only competent Sony guys that I would know of, like that you could fuck with, and
Mystic,
he's
okay.
not focused on, like in his videos,
or-
people are basically lying about what everyone's saying. So he's probably
I
the only
watch
one
his
I would
stuff.
recommend over these dumpster babies that are in this community. But honestly, I want to. I mean, honestly, like, I mean, most of the guys, they lie about half the shit we say 100% of the time. Anyway, I don't give a fuck. I want to go ahead and let's jump forward a few. First off, you can mention the fact that, and again, we got a couple really, really good topics at the end. We need to speed this shit up. Rocksteady finally unveiled their fucking Suicide Squad game. We told you guys this is Suicide Squad 2 years ago. And again, it is Suicide Squad. Basically, you're going to hunt the Justice League. I don't know how it's going to work. Apparently, rumblings are it'll be kind of like Avengers and it's going to live and breathe. I don't like that shit, but it is Rocksteady, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. There's not too many details out there, just a picture. And Suicide Squad, again, I didn't like it when I first heard it. And not sure. I had to see some gameplay on it. BioShock 4 also confirmed for the next generation systems via job listings. So if you're a BioShock fan, I was playing Infinite. I don't know, man.
It's great news.
It's still nothing compared to BioShock 1 to me. BioShock is BioShock 1 to me. So hopefully they go back in that direction, guys. And
Like Infinite.
yeah, it's just it's a lot more shoot 'em up, generic kind of.
It's different.
Yeah, it's just not what 1 was. 1 was magical. Andrew Ryan, the whole thing.
It was. That's true.
But yeah, BioShock 4 is definitely confirmed, and it is coming to next generation consoles. The Gunk developer, the Gunk was a big or small, didn't matter. These guys make games and they are giving their take on some of the systems. Apparently, one of the lead technical guys behind the Gunk, a game they did show off at the Xbox showcase, and one of the few that was actually gameplay running at 60 FPS on that stream. He basically said that they went to the Series X to avoid their graphical concessions they would have had to make for the PS5. So they decided to work with the Series X because they were already running into those concessions. Chris, I found that kind of interesting because I'm trying to think, because they're both pretty balanced systems. We had talked about this, but the thing is, if you need more than CPU overhead, obviously you have to decrease the GPU clock and it goes down to 9 teraflops, whatever. And vice versa. If you don't need as much CPU overhead, Smart Shift, they can clock that CPU down and get that 10.2. You cannot have both. So I just was kind of wondering what maybe he ran into on that box. Do you think, Chris?
I think, Joe, obviously I said something a few months ago from devs that I spoke to, and it resulted in death threats and various other things towards
that was the developers telling you about a staggering power difference between the Series X and the PS5.
Difference, yeah. But it's it's slowly coming to fruition now. There was some real good developers and a multitude of studios that I was speaking to. And people say, well, why are they going to tell you? Because you've been out of making video games for 10 years and all this shit or whatever. But the reason people talk to you is because they're your friends and they confide in you and they talk about stuff and they compare notes and they talk about what other devs that they've been speaking to and are friends with are finding out about systems and so on and so forth. I'm hearing, I'm still hearing that has gathered more and more pace. There were some people who were kind of unsure, but no, it's coming to fruition that whilst the kind of dev tools on Sony's side are kind of easy to work with, tend to be a good set of tools, tend to be a good kind of technical support in terms of the guys who've kind of put hardware together and are helping with get the best out of it. Whilst all that stuff is relatively easy and nice to work with and so on and so forth, they're just not able to get that mixture of kind of power, CPU, that side of things out of it to the extent of what the Series X can produce.
And that delta gets bigger when you add ray tracing, right? And all that stuff's tied to the amount of CUs you have. So basically, because that's exactly what we said on the show, based on Mark Cerny's comments, we had talked about how we think PS5 will be a little bit easier to develop for, though both are easier than anything developers have ever worked on from what we're hearing. PS5 will be a little bit easier to work with, right? But overall, there is a pretty big delta between the two. And again, we know this math based off of PC today, and this is common knowledge. Anybody knows anything, right? So then for developers to kind of start to, and IGN had one talking about this as well. Chris is not the only one talking about this. You'll hear more and more and more. And I mean, so basically you're saying that they are just reconfirming and even more people that you know at these studios are starting to talk about the difference, the delta between the two.
Yeah, so reconfirming that no one's kind of gone back on what they've said at the start, and then obviously, as you say, more and more developers are speaking about a difference now. The developers I don't personally know or anything like that. So, but there's a blend and a far-reaching set of developers now, which are starting to talk about potential problems, starting to talk about potential differences in the PS5 still needs to support dynamic resolutions and so on and so forth, which is from this whole kind of next gen narrative of 4K 60 120 frames per second in various instances. It's very quiet for a business that is really, really good at PR. It's very, very quiet on the hardware front for PS5. There's talk of PS5 Pro and stuff like that now. Coming out, and I think I said it a few months ago. I think Sony on the hardware side, they rested on the laurels and they got caught with this whole kind of SSD being the game changer, and they've got a fucking gorgeous SSD in that system. But you look at how quick Series X with its quick resume, you're looking how devs are talking about the fact that Series X has got an SSD in, and it's no slouch. And we're going from 5700 RPM hard drives to SSD drives. So it doesn't matter if then Sony have created this beautiful SSD. It will be used and utilized by first parties in an absolutely beautiful way. Really nice. It'll showcase that a bit. Third party multi-plats are not using it. They're saying they're not using it.
They're still getting used. They're still being made for mechanical drives on the PC. Games like Valhalla will run on a PC mechanical hard drive.
Yeah.
So that's the lowest common denominator there when it comes to your storage speed is going to be on PC, and developers are still going to want to utilize. I mean, Jesus, the games that you can play, Doom Eternal, one of the best looking games ever made. Like you're really not maxing out even a 7200 RPM drive. With like every single game ever made runs on a 7200 RPM hard drive, except for Star Citizen, which still isn't fucking done. It's still not complete.
That ain't coming out.
And that game, I think it used a SATA-driven SSD, correct? I don't even think that used an NVMe, which I could be wrong, but if I'm not, that NVMe is multiple times faster than that SATA-driven hard drive, right? So that SSD. So you've got so far between the lowest common denominator on PC and a Series X, then adding compression blocks to it to increase speeds even further with that virtual memory setup with 100 gigs and blah, 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 right? On top of that. So that's why we always laughed at everyone talking about the SSD thing. Like it has another GPU built into it. Makes no sense. No sense, Steve.
And we saw a loading screen as well when Jeff was showing it off, so.
I'm going to book the time off holiday for the Digital Foundry things, order some lotion, and just sit down. And
all right. All right.
Wow.
Whoa.
Good luck with your skin problems.
I will say this though. I do see in 2021, I do see some companies kind of mandating an SSD if they want to be, innovating with their engines and stuff.
Yeah.
So I do see some games will have a minimum spec bump up to SSD, NVMe SSD.
Yeah. Naturally, that's going to happen no matter what, right?
I want to ask you a question, though, Dealer. I'm so surprised that you're not more excited for Suicide Squad. I thought you would be ecstatic for that game.
Because it's the opposite of what Rocksteady have mastered. Arkham Asylum 92, Arkham City 96 meta. Arkham Knight that kind of took an L on some of the things here and there, but still a good game. And this is a multiplayer living service type game from everything that we're hearing, like Avengers, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's gonna be bad, but until I see it, it's rock steady.
I heard some guy online. It was pretty funny, so I gotta repeat it. He was like, "Sony got the exclusive rights to the game, and we don't get Superman anymore. He doesn't have an S on his chest or a
He's got
cape.
a PlayStation
and
logo.
He's known by Fly Guy. He just goes by
Fly Guy. I can't wait to play as Killer Croc myself.
Oh man, that's gonna be fire. Again, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, let's try to crush 1,000 for the end of the show. I do appreciate it. Subscribe, share it out with a buddy or two. Yeah, they did reveal that game. It is what it is. The Gunk developer talking about something that he can't do on the PS5 that obviously they've decided to go with Series X and work on that. And I guess that feature's been removed if it's available in lower end hardware. I'm not sure. Series X launch also confirmed today for November. That was confirmed by Greenberg, and he did say that, hey, Series X would be launching this November. I think they announced Halo's delay, Tim, because whatever else they're going to talk about this month, again, we've always said it's not necessarily an event. It could be a press release. It could be a video interview. It could be anything. Whatever they're going to talk about this month, they wanted to get that Halo stuff out of the way, make it old news, and whatever they're going to drop, big or small, will be the new thing, along with this November target for their launch, or rather, the November launch. So all that September stuff, and Rand Thor was putting fake news out there. Shout out to Rand. No, I'm just kidding. All that stuff, it's coming out in November. Tim, what are your thoughts? They finally kind of nailed that down. Common sense.
But there are rumors that, I think Shinobi was saying that they're going to push some of the stuff into September. I think this all points to the cat and mouse game that they're playing with the price. I think they want to see. So one of the companies wants to see who goes first, and both don't want to go first.
No, they
And
don't.
here we are, and I don't know. Listen, we're in a time and place where things can be pushed back, and we can say that this had an effect on it or that. So I just think it's up in the air. I haven't heard anything. Originally, the plan was this month, and then I think it went to the end of this month, and then now it's it's up in the air again.
Yeah,
So,
COVID's really messed with everything.
Yeah, and more so, they want Sony to go first. I really believe Xbox wants to undercut Sony, but I just don't think Sony's going to give them that chance. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes.
Man, we're in the middle of August, man. I need to plan my life. I might not even have a job tomorrow. What do I do, man?
I'm just hoping that release of the console is at least during the week of the Cyberpunk release on November 19th.
Oh yeah,
man. They did show off some Cyberpunk gameplay and stuff, right, Fonz?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I'd love to see some Cyberpunk on the Series X, even though, of course, we're not going to get that whole full-fledged, patch for the Series X until 2021. But hey, I'll take the. I'm sure we're going to get more frames and stuff, better, load times and stuff. If we have load times at all, who knows with these SSD drives? But yeah, I'm just so excited. I want to play it. Series X, please come out.
Did they confirm anything substantial with the whole Cyberpunk thing yesterday?
No, they really didn't confirm anything. They were just talking about the life paths and stuff, and I did a video about it on my channel, The Grounded Gamer. By the way, shameless plug, but yeah.
Go unsubscribe today.
Yeah.
Xbox wanted Halo, and they wanted Cyberpunk Smart Delivery day one. Obviously, it's both been delayed, but that was their original plan. And they're getting either.
Oh, they might get Cyberpunk if they're console.
No, I'm saying they were originally, the plan was to get Halo and also Cyberpunk Smart Delivery
Gotcha.
to day one. So they would have had the patch day one.
Yeah.
So nothing's hit. But
it's that ray tracing, damn it! Something about that ray tracing takes some time, right?
Turn that bitch off, I guess. I mean, for
I could see them announcing Lockhart and not giving a price. That's what I think we might see this month.
Yeah, because didn't Sony delay their shit till September? Like, that's the rumor now? Like they delayed, like they were supposed to be like an August event, and then they delayed it to
Yeah,
the
there
beginning of
was
September because they
everyone.
don't want to know, like they don't want to
Yeah.
like announce their price before Xbox, and then now Xbox is
So
like
stupid.
it's just that's just what it is. I don't know, man. This price
I
thing
think
is getting out of hand.
Phil's calling Jim Ryan up every day, going, "Hey, what's the price?" And
He's like,
Jim's just hanging out.
Stop it.
Today I touched on this a little bit in my video. I was kind of speculating on the Series S when it would release. I was thinking in September, and I still think that would be a sound strategy. What Microsoft, I don't know, possibly could do, or I think they should do, is release the Series S early, because the Series S and the Series X, I think they're kind of two different markets, and I know a lot of people are going to pick up a Series S as a secondary console anyways, or to complement their Xbox Series X for the kids or something, whatever. So you could release the price of it, so we know what's going on with that. That would kind of force Sony to start talking about the price of the PlayStation 5 digital. So that could be a way to kind of draw them out a little bit and still not reveal the price for the Xbox Series X. But I'm frustrated with this. I think like we're at the end of August now. Like we need to know the prices of these systems. You know,
Yeah.
they should open up pre-orders, because the sooner they open up the pre-orders, the more money they can make. Because let's just be honest, gamers are hungry for both next generation consoles. I'm not going to sit here and say one is going to sell more than the other. Both sets of gamers are excited for both consoles, and it's about time. Let's just get the damn price and when we can fucking pre-order these things.
I see, but I understand why
Agreed.
Xbox isn't doing it. The freaking price launch of the Xbox One, and then Sony coming out and just undercutting them, like they have like PTSD. They're like, no, fuck, we're not doing that.
Well,
here's
stick
the
these
thing.
fucking cameras in the box, and there you go. Shit.
If
like,
Sony's actually if they're spending a lot of money right now on third-party deals and stuff, how much money do they have to, just undercut them with? How much are they willing to lose on each box?
I mean, they're both spending an incredibly high amount of money, right? Like Microsoft are buying studios, Sony are undoubtedly buying studios, right? And on top of the third-party deals on both sides, I don't know.
What about if Microsoft comes out and say, okay, our system is $499, and then Sony goes, haha, ours is $399, and then the next week Xbox goes, no, we lied, it's $399.
Or we could just remember that Lockhart's a thing that's going to undercut it no matter what. That's what
It's
doesn't make any sense on this, right? Which leads me into my next topic, the Xbox Series S. And again, who was it? Lethal was Lethal's making fun of people today. Like, how come y'all even question what's said on this show half the time? Like, we've been talking about Lockhart forever. And the Series S has been leaked via an official Robot White controller listing where it says it does work with Xbox Series X, Series S, and you can actually get a hold of people that have some of these, which is funny. But these are legitimate, and Series S is legitimate. That is Lockhart, 4 teraflop Navi or around there, 12 targets for the high end. They obviously exceeded the 12 to 12.19 or 12 point whatever the fuck it is. And Series S is real. That's the thing. Why are Sony waiting if they know they don't have something that can counter what is probably going to be a $300 box in Series S, right? They know they can't get that low with PS5. That was what I had always counted on. It's $299 for Lockhart, PS5 $400. Apparently prices got out of control. We'll see how that goes. And then Series X at $500.
Yeah, but also the Series S, I think first of all, I think the key to its success is the price. It has to be priced right. But I think
$300,
the price, I think the price of the Series S is kind of dependent on the PlayStation 5 digital as well, because these companies, they're not trying. I think on the digital consoles they will take some type of loss, but they're not trying to take a loss. So they're trying to minimize the damage or the loss that they're going to take.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why they're waiting on each other, because these consoles, like even the the Series S now, it's powerful. It's got 4 teraflops. It's got an 8-core, 16-thread CPU. It's going to be more capable than the Xbox One X. It's going to be able to do 60 frames
it's just
per
that
second.
people don't understand any of that, and they don't understand that all Xbox games are built for the PC. And that lowest common denominator, meaning there will be a weaker GPU on the PC side, a weaker CPU, slower memory bandwidth, and a storage solution that will be able to play that same game that you're playing on your Lockhart, meaning Lockhart is not holding shit back. And people are like, that's a sad creation. Why would you want to play next gen game? You need to stop thinking about this whole next gen thing. It's all on the same machine language now. You're just going to scale up and get better and better visuals through the software itself, right?
When the new RDNA cards come out from AMD later on this year, and the new NVIDIA cards, you're gonna have the top of the line 3000 series. You're gonna have the top of the line fucking 6900 from from AMD, and you're gonna have the lower end, the 6500. Like they're all in the same fucking family. They're all gonna play the same amount of games, the same type of games, just at different fucking metrics. Some will play the game at 1080p, 1440p. You get the higher GPU, it's gonna play it at 4K. It's no difference. No difference what's going on here with the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. So people need to cut that shit out. Like, honestly tell you, 1440p, 60 frames per second with ray tracing, whatever, playing the latest generation games for $300. Come on, man, that's a good
I don't
deal.
think
And
it'll
then
quite do that good, but yeah.
Even if it's
Yeah.
1080p,
I was
even
gonna
if
say,
it's
on
1080p
top of that,
60, it'll be
come on.
nice. Because a lot of people out there still have 1080p TVs, so they're going to be golden with Series S.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I might buy both because that actually suits me.
It's good, man.
Yeah. You're talking about a machine that targets basically a 1080p display, and you can hook it up to a 4K one, right? But they're going to offer modes just like Series X. It'll basically be a resolution scaler with probably differences in ray tracing and stuff like that. But as long as that CPU is as quick as Series X, then they can kind of double down on leveraged features there. I don't see the negative. You got to remember the Xbox One X and the Pro. We have them all, right? We're like 5% of that user base. And that base model, that all digital Xbox One, the $150 one dominated Black Friday. Microsoft know this, and they're only selling these things not for profit, but to get this hardware in your house so you can buy the thing that makes them the money, the games. And that's why they're trying to get this thing out there.
Well, there's no way the PlayStation 5 all digital is going to be less than $400. I'm sorry, that's just a pipe.
Not with that SSD in there, no.
No, there's no way. So we're looking at least $100 price difference between the Lockhart
and that's why Microsoft has said we're going to be leaders in both performance and price. So
just no way.
They know they've got that two-pronged approach. I mentioned it last week. That's why Sony are talking about value now. We're not the cheapest, right? Because Lockhart, but we're kind of the value proposition. We give you great performance for the price, and if they come in at $4, absolutely agree. I've always said that. Phenomenal system for $400. But for $5 next to Series X with that kind of delta with the GPU, and those clocks are higher, they're stable. The memory bandwidth's over 100 gigs per second over that on the memory alone, the RAM alone, which some people don't think about. It's pretty crazy. So at the end of the day,
hey
Series
guys,
S is the real deal.
I'm going to have to get out of here. I got to get to work, guys, unfortunately, but it's been great. Awesome to meet you guys, and good to have you again, Chris. And the chat's been amazing, but I have to run. Dealer, Zocker, Tim.
All the best, man.
Later,
Thank
brother.
you.
Follow him at The Grounded
guys are
Gamer on
awesome.
YouTube. Check out his video today.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
But
Take care, man.
this is actually our last topic, but I did want to ask a question or two maybe, and then we'll kind of do some outros. But Find the Gamer, he says, do you guys see them doing a Game Pass launch title like Dying Light 2, which basically went silent? There was a rumor of basically some Polish studio stuff. Who knows, man? I haven't heard anything from that game, and it was supposed to come out earlier this year and got pushed back apparently before the whole global thing went nuts. So again, Chris, when it was something like Series S, I've been talking about this damn thing for 2 years, and it's good to finally see this stuff start to come out. But what are your thoughts as a developer? And you understand lowest common denominator and how this thing really shouldn't hold anything back. Why are Microsoft doing this at all? Then why? It's almost like it's an Xbox One S today, right?
Yeah, I mean it's there's different markets, isn't there? You've got to look at the different gaming markets. You've got to look at some of the tough times that people are having out there. And if it was me, and people will probably jump on me, and what type of loss did they want to make and stuff. I'd chuck Series S out there for $200. I'd just go $200. you've got
You're trying to move units.
Yeah, you've got some Game Pass Ultimate with it, and then take on the service. Start playing games. You've got a nice form factor. You've got a decent machine, which is as we all know, is more powerful than the One X. But Xbox are then making their profits and the money on Game Pass Ultimate and digital based games and stuff like that. So if they want to kind of really shift some units, and then you get your $400 or whatever for your Series X. It's this kind of, oh, it's going to bring games down. It's going to be, it's not going to be powerful enough and stuff like that. All of that is nonsense. As you were saying before, you've got resolution scaling. As long as those CPUs are the key, what you were saying before. So as long as those CPUs, which they're rumored to be the same CPUs or very close by, as long as those CPUs are the same, you hit your 60 frames per second. You start giving people who have not taken the leap to 4K. They've, only a handful of people have taken the leap to 8K, because they want to be those early adopters. But you're not going to see any of that utilized. But there are millions and millions of people out there still with 1080p TVs, which are really fucking good TVs. But they don't necessarily want that kind of top of the line visual experience because the gameplay is where it's at. They
don't want to pay hundreds of dollars more, right?
No, it's I mean, I've got an awesome OLED TV, 55-inch OLED TV, and sorry, I've got the Samsung QLED. Sorry, so I've got 55 QLED, but it's not HDMI 2.1. But I'm a fucking tech nerd, so I'm looking at what telly to get to utilize PS5, to utilize Series X. But I've got a telly there, which was the fucking greatest telly to play games on. It's kind of variable refresh rate stuff, variable rate refresh rate. I can do 144 hertz.
I mean, Chris, people don't know that you're even going to see games running at over 100 frames on Lockhart.
Yeah.
At 1080p or whatever if a developer wants to fuck around with that and run that in 120 mode on that, you'll be able to utilize that mode on a lot more TVs. But still, it's far more capable than the X today, and it might have less RAM. That's pretty much about it. But how do you counter that virtual memory system the Velocity architecture is supposed to work across both of them, from my understanding. That same storage card will go in the back of both of them, from my understanding, and games will be developed the same way for both of them. But yeah, aside from maybe the amount of RAM you have, it's better in every single way than the Xbox One X, which I've already explained the difference between GCN, the shit we have in today's consoles architecture, and Navi. And there's a difference. So that 4 is lower than 6, but it's more powerful. You get more frames, pixels, effects per T-flop. Think of it that way, right? So, I don't know.
Could you see a could you see a Lockhart game running back? Sorry, Chris.
No, it's fine.
I don't know who's going.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. My bad. I was going to say, Dealer and Chris, you guys know this shit. Could you potentially see a Series S game that's running better than the PlayStation 5, not on the res side of things, but things like maybe frames or something?
If a CPU is a bottleneck and they do have that same 3.8 gigahertz on the 8-core mode and 3.6 on 16, yeah, I mean, because you got to remember, if Sony, people are saying that the PS5 and Xbox CPUs are the same. This is what you have to understand, is that they're only the same if PS5's GPU is clocked down in the 9 teraflop area. Sony have confirmed this through Smart Shift, that the GPU has to be basically declocked to get that 3.5, which is still lower than the base of Xbox's CPU clock. So again, if you're running 3.5 on PS5, you're running down the 9 teraflop range. That's nowhere near a 10 teraflop machine, right? So you're going to suffer in some way to even compete if the CPU is your bottleneck for frame rate. I mean, that's kind of a good question. Chat, let us know if you think you'll see frame rates on Lockhart that you might not even see on the PS5 on some games, like Stalker 2. What was that? There's certain games the developer said, look, we could do 120 on Series X, but not on PS5. I forgot what the name of that game was, but developers are starting to talk more and more every month. But yeah, I think you'll see a lot more of that. And in games that do have 120 modes on both versions, you're really going to see a massive GPU divide there, because they've had to declock that GPU on PS5 to get the CPU overhead to probably hit 120 frames. So I don't know. Again, we've been covering Lockhart forever. It's definitely a thing. It's never not been a thing. And chat, let us know your thoughts. I'm running out of fucking energy here, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't, guys. Let's try to crack 1,000 and all that good shit. We're gonna do some fucking outro. Yeah, I gotta get the fuck out of here. What were you guys saying? Someone want to
just a quick one? No, I was just gonna say the genius with Series X is, a lot of Xbox gamers could potentially buy 2 machines off them. I've already got guys talking about a Series S for the office, for lunch times, and after work and stuff, and a Series X at home. There's no reason to buy a PS5 and a PS5 digital.
Yeah, Iran, by the way, Iran says deal of teraflops don't matter. Why do you think Sony gave developers to clock it up to 10.2 if they don't matter? Do you know what a teraflop is? The amount of calculations per second that the machine can do. Now, we say that knowing that overall system balance is most important. We've said that always, right? It's not just about teraflops. That's just the easy way to kind of say marketing, like they did with the Xbox One X and the Pro. So they do matter. That's why Sony are giving developers the option, which Digital Foundry has covered. Developers are already declocking the CPU to get more T-flops out of the GPU. They do matter. Stop listening to whoever the fuck you're listening to. The more, the better. That's why all these guys were talking about 13 before all these fucking fake insiders from Reset Error were exposed. And we were pretty much the camp saying all this shit pretty accurately. 9.2 is the chip. They've confirmed that it clocks up to 10.2. They said there's a 10% drop. That's 10.2 to 9.2. Have fun with the math. We did it a long time ago, trying to get motherfuckers to catch up. So again, if you haven't hit the like button, guys, you haven't subscribed, do so. We're going to do some outros. We do appreciate it, guys. Everyone showed up. For the guys who showed up to hate because Chris is here. We got some dislikes today, Chris. But you know, you're still one of my favorite guests, man. They just hate you because you make them scared because you're credible, and they don't like that. So again, shout out to Chris Grimmel. Everyone give Chris Grimmel a thumbs up for joining RDX podcast yet again and rocking out with us. We do appreciate it, guys. Everyone in the chat, all the channel members, all the patrons. And Gaz of co-owner of Game One Daily, guys. That seriously phenomenal site. I've put it on Twitter. I've put it in my last video. You guys have to check this out. But we're going to do some outros, guys. And again, chat, thanks for rocking out with us. Thanks for all the support. You make us what we are. D-Batch, what have you been playing, buddy? Where can people find you?
I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima. You guys can find me on Twitter at D_batch. Of course, on YouTube at DBatch. Dropped a video today. Check it out. There's some pretty cool Flight Simulator 2020 footage in there. Man, that game just looks photorealistic. Was a great show. Thanks for coming on, Chris. Thanks for coming on, my guy. And the rest of the cast, yeah.
Yes. We've also got Xcloud Tim Dog, buddy. What have you been playing? Where can we find you, man?
I've been doing Halo franchise. I've been doing Madden franchise, still doing that, and played a bunch of achievement games this weekend, which were just horrible. But I got some achievement score. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter, Xcloud Tim Dog. Thank you, Chris, for coming. Always a pleasure. Gaz, you were very informative too. Really flowed with the show. And good show tonight. Just like I said earlier on, just a little bit of a big blow, but it'll all work out in the end. I think, hopefully.
Yeah. And again, I'm glad you're back this week, man, because this is like this was a kind of a big week for some of this stuff, man. So thanks for joining us again. This is Gaming Super Snake, man. I just realized I saw a super chat from you, but I didn't. Something happened and I lost it and I forgot, man. I'm sorry. Appreciate it though, man. Also, we've got Zalker87, buddy. What have you been playing? Where can people find you?
I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima a lot. That game is so damn long. I'm actually enjoying it a lot. Actually, it's a really fun game. And then playing a lot of Rocket League actually with a couple of my friends, and we stayed up way too late because we were like, oh, we'll just get one more game. Next game we lose, we'll stop. And we didn't lose for fucking 2.5 hours, and it was just like almost midnight. So I had a lot of fun with that. Got diamond ranked, so it's good stuff. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Zalker87 and on YouTube at Zalker87. So yeah. Awesome, guys. Everybody, my G, you're good.
My G.
Yeah, Chris Cornelli, you're awesome, man. Everybody in here, all the guests, it was great, man. In chat, you guys are awesome. Lethal holding it down. I saw him kicking some fools out the door like a bouncer. Just like, get the hell out of here, dumbass. And so, yeah, man, everybody's good. Chat, we love you guys.
Leaves of cracking skulls. You sound like you're on Boost Mobile, Zachary. What's up with your mic again?
Dude, I don't know. I need to figure that shit out, though. But I was at work all day, man.
Yeah, those videos keep getting that good mic treatment, chat. But man, this for some reason he sounds like trash in the show. It's weird.
It's Discord. It's not picking it up.
Oh, it's not.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. Well, either way, man, it's good to again another show having you on and all that good stuff. Chris, tell people where they can find you, buddy. What you've been playing and all that good stuff, man. Again, love having you on, man. Absolute blast to get your perspective on things. The chat loves it. And again, man, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I am CJ Grinnell on Twitter. Hard Times UK on Xbox Live and PSN. I've not been playing too much stuff at the minute. Work's been really busy. We do a lot of stuff with sports clubs, so the season's kind of ended, and then the season's kind of building up again in football or English football, soccer. And so I've been really busy with that. So I've just been kind of on the downtime, chilling a bit with Animal Crossing. Would you believe it? I've been trying, Darksiders Genesis, which is a pretty cool game.
I hear it's decent.
On Game Pass. Yeah, so 2-player co-op.
Do you feel bad knowing the developers?
Diablo-esque.
Do you feel bad knowing the developers of that game only got $1 for you playing it?
Yeah, they got no money. So that was it.
Oh,
so I took a look at that, and obviously I've been on the flight sim kind of beta and stuff, so I've been checking that out.
Man, that game looks good, man.
I'm massively looking forward to that. If Xbox could get that out for a Series X launch, that could be a saving grace for as a launch.
D-Batch just talking.
But that's me. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks for the panel, Joe. Always a pleasure speaking to you guys. And Joe, anytime you want me back on, I'll be here.
Of course, brother. We've also got Gaz, Konar, Game On Daily, brother. It's good to have you on. You did pretty good. Better than I thought you would, you monocle wearing motherfucker. How have you been? Where can people find you, Gaz? Gazimus Maximus. And what have you been playing?
Thanks for. I'm glad you had so much hope in me. You can find me at Gaz on Daily on Twitter. Follow my YouTube channel is called Game On Daily. Fonz needs to see it because I'm hyping up Halo Infinite so much in that. GameOnDaily.com is like a site that we've created that you control the news. It's really for a positive community. It's why I'm here. I love you guys. I'm just really grateful for being here. You guys are genuinely so easy to talk to because you guys are nice and not pricks like people online. So thank you guys. So Gaz on Daily on Twitter, GameOnDaily.com is the site. It's your site. Make it your home. I promise. It'll be nice. And yeah, Game On Daily, the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me.
That's linked down below, by the way. Chris, can you comment again in the chat for me here so I can make sure that worked? Just drop something, bug snacks or something. Drop a bug snack or two for the chat. D-Batch, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I got your outro, right?
Yeah, you got my outro.
Okay, so I got Chris is modded, all that good stuff.
I got excited when Chris was talking about Flight Simulator, man. I think he's right. If they could get that to launch with the Series X, it would be a savings grace because it could truly showcase the power of that system because we've seen it on the PC and like you need a really beefy PC. And even so, right now you're not getting 4K 60 with the top of the line PC. So that could be a showcase piece, man. I'm excited for that game.
See, here's a problem with what I'm talking about. Porco Tech. Change your name because you're not on the same page. We're not talking about GPU when we say 120 frames. Generally, when you're getting up that kind of frame rate, the CPU has to be extremely quick, and it's gotta basically hand the GPU the frames, right? Think of it that way. I'm gonna simplify it. And if Lockhart CPU is quicker than PS5s, despite the GPU divide, the bottleneck would be on that CPU on the PS5 if it's declocked. Think of it that way. So we're not saying that it could happen. We asked the chat if they think it'll happen. So I think that's okay to do. I don't think that's the end of the world. Again, guys, let us know your thoughts. Hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Join. Patron. Game On Daily link down below. And fantastic show with a ton of great topics and all that good stuff, guys. Again, appreciate what you guys do. We'll be doing it every week. We're back at it. And yes, thank you very much. We are out.
Later, everybody.
Peace.
Zalker's a frog.